Yeah. It's nice. I like that. You know what this is called?
Is it made by? Is it on the Hallmark label?
It's Dancing with an Angel. Hello, everybody. This is the 665 show with me, Keith. Hello, and Mark. Say hello, Mark.
Hello.
And say hello, Richard.
Can I say it in the style of a young person?
Yeah, go at it, Holmes.
Wagwan.
Go on.
Bedroom.
Go on. Gentlemen, we're going to start the show like we've started the other shows that weren't truly successful. I'm going to ask you what you've been up to over the Christmas and New Year's period. Mark, what have you been up to over the Christmas and New Year's period?
As an evangelical Christian, I've been celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ on the 25th of December.
Yep.
And also celebrating the Nordic festival of the god Eggnog.
Very nice.
Down in Advocat.
Very good, very good. And Richard, what have you been up to over the Christmas and New Year's period?
The most notable thing was I encapsulated a porpoise in a woven willow coracle.
What exactly is a coracle?
A coracle, it's an old-fashioned vessel that was woven out of twigs that people used to use to go across rivers.
Was there any reason that you woven such an animal into such a contraption, or just because?
The reason it was woven in was because that's the traditional way of creating a coracle.
Of course, yeah.
The reason it was a porpoise was it's got a kindly face.
They do.
They have a lovely little cute kindly face.
But at the same time, they're forlorn. Whereas, say if you get a fossa, which is like a jungle cat, which is native to Madagascar, and you cage that, it looks angry. If you do the same with a honey badger, an African honey badger, looks angry.
You never.
If you do it to a porpoise, that porpoise looks sad. It looks like it's been reading Sylvia Plath.
When you cage a porpoise, do you cage it still in the water, or do you bring it onto land?
Mark, precisely why I use a coracle. Because
right.
what you do is you obviously make it watertight, but in this instance you wouldn't.
So in which would you call a coracle? Would you say you use an amphibian coracle to wove your porpoise unto?
I'm quite reticent about using that term, basically because Mark and I today had this conversation that you're a kind of Svengali figure, and I can imagine you trying to usurp me and having it for yourself. So no, on that basis, no. But yes, but no.
I put it to you, Richard Smith, that your coracle weaving skills are less than average, which means you had to have a sea-dwelling creature or a water-dwelling creature, because your coracle was letting water in, and you've drowned several mammals, probably some from Madagascar.
You don't want to drown mammals from Madagascar because there are the most unique species of animals in the world exists on Madagascar. There's more unique species of animals that exist in the world in Madagascar. I don't know if that's true.
Do you know that Adolf Hitler wanted to send all the Jews in Europe to Madagascar? Not to look at the lemurs.
It took you 3 minutes 59 to not mention Adolf Hitler, so I'll give you that. That's quite fucking good.
It's a record.
that's pretty good. I think that is. Well done, Mark. Well done. I'm going to jump straight into the news and quickly brief over that fact. But that was lovely, Richard, and I'm glad I take it you enjoyed yourself over the holiday season. Sorry, not just Christmas, the holiday season.
Keith, what did you get up to? How rude of me.
Nothing as adventurous as you two. I drank far too much alcohol.
Any arguing?
Yes. But we won't go into that here. And I drank...
Any eggnog?
No, I don't like eggnog. I don't like Advocat. It's fucking horrible. Egg and alcohol. No. Not good.
Alcohol?
Yeah, and then I had...
Anto, that is.
Then I had foods and things, and I ate too much and I drank too much, and it was lovely. And I had... it was very good. Very good time. I had a good Hanukkah.
I've just burned my nose on a tissue, and it's formed an image which is uncannily like a Scotty dog.
Now, if you'd said Jesus, at that point we would have increased views. I'm not going to lie to you. We would have increased views.
It's unbelievable. I'm going to save it and bring in my snot hanky just to show you.
You should do.
Keith, did you hear that then when he said unbelievable?
Yeah.
You sound like Wally.
He
Went, unbelievable.
That's a skill of his.
I've been practicing that. I've moved on from Voldemort.
We'll get into Voldemort in a bit. Don't worry. There's plenty of time for Voldemort. Plenty of time. This is the part in the show that we talk about the news. And that is what we're going to do. And the one thing that we and Mark, I'm sure, have spoken about a little bit is a certain Premiership footballer who scored a fantastic goal against West Ham. It wasn't a fantastic goal, it was a scrappy goal, to say the least. Then performed what is commonly known in France as the quenelle, I believe.
That's correct, yes.
And apparently he has anti-Zionist status attached to it, which isn't a good thing, you know, if you're a Jew, I suppose. What do we think about this, gentlemen? Obviously, bringing politics into football is never a good thing, but especially when it comes out in such a horrible fascist way.
I'd like to interject here by saying let Mark go first.
I'm sure Mark's got something to say about this. Mark?
Well, I mean, I've got no problem with politics being brought into sport because I was supportive of Robbie Fowler when he wore his Support the Liverpool Dockers T-shirt and pulled up his Liverpool top to display a T-shirt at some point. However, Nicolas Anelka is clearly an evil fascist.
Wow, that's a bit of a jump, isn't it? Really.
So I've got nothing good to say about the man. And you know, the entire idea that he didn't really understand what he was doing is completely pathetic, especially given the fact that the guy he was supporting was being chastised in the French press that day for mentioning gas, bringing back the gas chambers for the Jews.
It was he had a radio he didn't have a radio interview with one of the early morning very famous radio presenters over there who is Jewish, and he actually said live on stage that they should bring back the gas chambers because he didn't have his interview. And
I think the football team West Bromwich Albion should be investigated for carrying on playing him whilst he's clearly at the storm of racial hatred, inciting racial hatred.
Yeah. I think what it's brought about is how idiotic Anelka is, because it just proves how stupid footballers are when he doesn't even know which one is and isn't Tottenham Hotspur he's playing against.
I don't think he would have lasted if he had done it.
I think he'd have probably got killed, wouldn't he?
Yeah, White Hart Lane. Yeah, it wouldn't have gone down too well.
It's been quite interesting because I mean I listen to a lot of probably like you two listen to a lot of sports radio, so Talk Sport and Radio 5. Which is brilliant if you want to,
talk about London clubs.
Well, yeah, or if you want to know who Vincent Tan's lining up for the Cardiff job, or what style Tom Huddleston's going to be deploying for the rest of the season. But as soon as it has to go into like a major story, as soon as you get that crossover of sport and serious news story, it just all falls apart. I mean, I remember the day Mandela died. I've got a funny story about him.
It's all right.
I'm sure Mandela died. I found out by listening to Talk Sport, and I think it was an Arsenal reserve chatting with some ex-British Olympic ice hockey or hockey wing attack or something. Broke the news to me that Mandela, probably one of the greatest people who's ever lived, certainly in this century, died. But they were looking for a sports slant on it. They've always got to find the sports slant on these big stories. So they were talking about Mandela wearing his box top, his Springbok top during the World Cup, the Rugby World Cup, to unite the nation. And well, it was all a bit pathetic. They weren't really going into anything else that he did. They were just sort of dwelling on. It was a nice green top that he was wearing. It had the little Springbok logo on. It was really good. He was a black man. He was great. He had the Springbok top on. Michael Schumacher banging his head has been like the greatest story for them for a long time because it unites the two, sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean that's it's a little weird, isn't it? There's another news story I'm going to come up with in a bit, which is Lewis Hamilton has posted some pictures from his skiing holiday, and has been lambasted for such. Obviously because of what's happened with Schumacher, and that brings about another point. I mean, obviously it's quite a bad thing that's happened to Schumacher. He's a sporting icon, to say the least. And, you know, he's in a very bad way at the moment. He's a medically induced coma, and they don't know, you know, he's stable, but they don't know if he's going to pull through or not. So, I mean, it is fairly important. But back to the Anelka thing, and we mentioned the politics into sport. I'm a big sort of advocate of not having politics in anything else than politics. It's like music when you hear bands like U2, who they're a hugely popular band, but when they try and cross over that line to politics, I just turn off. I just can't. I can't be doing it. I don't think the football pitch is the place to be doing anything like that. And I think
Bono doesn't play football,
and yet he does the Quinnell. But you know, it's. I think Richard's right in a way. It does show how stupid Nicolas Anelka is. You know, there's a time and place. It's not the time nor the place.
You see, I mean, going back to the point about sports radio, I mean, I remember listening to Radio 5 on 9/11, September the 11th. I remember listening to radio. All they were talking about was how it was going to affect NBA games.
Oh, fucking
and Saudi Arabia's national football team. It was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
It was incredible. But yeah, there you go. You know, and tonight, I heard, talking about Anelka, I heard, I've had radio, Talk Sports on tonight, and what's his name, that fucking idiot? Adrian Durham?
Yeah.
He was talking about Ariel Sharon. You know, the Israeli Prime Minister, the ex-Israeli Prime Minister.
That's him on the phone now.
Hold up, guys. It's just Ariel Sharon.
It won't be.
Hello,
He's in a
podcast.
coma for
I'll call
8
you back.
years.
Right, 2 seconds.
What, me? He woke up quick. He sounded well awake and everything.
No, 8 years in a coma.
Yeah, I know.
The lucky bastard.
The lucky bastard.
But they were talking about Ariel Sharon being in a coma and he's dying. He's got kidney failure. He was going to die over the next few days. And, you know, the Israeli Prime Minister. And they said, right, okay, let's go to Nicolas Anelka for his view on it. I can't fucking believe that. Israeli Prime Minister. Unbelievable.
He must be the fucking the ambassador for all things politics now when it comes to football. Let's cross over live to Nicolas Anelka and see what he thinks with his anti-Quinnell style. Have you actually looked at the story, either of you, and you're aware of the fact he's friends with this comedian, and it all comes from comedian. Again, Richard, what's his name again? Sorry. Duidon. It does bring about another point as well. In one way, Nicolas Anelka has kind of done a good thing, because they were looking at this comedian who's been, I think he has something like 11 charges in a French court holding against him for anti-Semitism.
He's been found guilty 6 times.
Yeah, but, you know, it's that toying the line between what's funny, what's close to the knuckle, and what's far too sort of insensitive to actually be broadcast like that in comedy.
Well, I think if something's funny, then it's funny, isn't it? Regardless of, you know, just because somebody's offended by it doesn't mean that the thing that they're offended by, or doesn't mean that they're right. You know, just because they're offended doesn't mean that they're correct. But it's got to be funny, hasn't it, to get that level of justification? And I think saying let's bring back the gas chamber is pretty infantile, really. I don't think it's even that funny, is it, really?
No, I suppose it's not. I suppose.
No, I don't find it funny. The reason I don't find it funny is purely because it's sensationalist. He's done it because he hasn't got anything to say, so he's tried to be as inflammatory as possible.
Yeah, and it's also appealing to a certain
It's not a cogent argument, is it?
Yeah, it's appealing to a certain kind of person in France, especially in Paris, in the northern suburbs of Paris. They've got a quite high unemployment, and a lot of quite a high percentage of Muslims live in northern Paris, sort of thing. Quite a lot of Algerians, and that's probably his market, and it probably appeals to them because it's anti-Jewish.
Yeah, it does. I'll go back to what Rich says. When you hear someone say something like "bring out the gas chambers," you automatically do think that person's got nothing better to say and he's just trying to be sensationalist. We don't know what this man's career is. We don't know. I'm not backing him up. I'm just doing that that thing where I try and give the other side of the argument. We don't know what he's done before. We don't know how long he's been in comedy. Obviously, having 6 convictions against you for saying dumb shit, and then having 11 pending against you for saying dumb shit is never going to be a good thing. But it brings it into the spotlight, and it does make you think about it. So in a way, Nicolas Anelka has done something right by it.
Yeah, I mean, even Hitler only had 1 charge against him and went to prison once, didn't he?
Do you know what the best thing about all this is?
What's that?
Growing up as a Wolves fan in the 80s,
Yeah.
late 80s, early 90s, watching them, we had a footballer called Psycho, who was Keith Downing.
Keith Downing.
And I love the fact that the go-to spokesman has been a man who I affectionately know as Psycho.
And here's backing up Nicolas Anelka.
Now we'd like to go directly over to the voice of reason, Psycho.
But who's he been the go-to person for?
I think it's every time they mention because obviously he played the game after it. He played the not the Tottenham, the West Ham game, whatever it was. He played the game after it, and all the press could talk about was Nicolas Anelka. So was he playing? Yeah, he's playing. Or is he not? I mean, Gareth McCauley's come out today as well and said that you'll let him kind of say what he has to say on the pitch instead of
what I like off the quote that Psycho gave. He didn't mean to cause offence, please, said Downing. And then, but look, this is not the justification, but this is the Guardian stirring the pot. He didn't mean to cause offence, said Downing, whose side are embroiled in a fight against relegation and could do with Anelka's goals. Right? We have spoken to Nico. Obviously, now the FA will look into it, and we have to deal with that. He was kind of surprised by the reactions, and he's already stated it won't happen again. And then I like the fact that the next thing he goes on to say is Nico has trained normally. I'd like to think that he had a breakdown and he came in dressed as a duck with a suit and a bowler hat, quacking everywhere. And every time the ball was kicked to him, he had a kazoo, and he was kicking the ball away with flippers. Nico was trained normally. There's been no flipper wearing, duck bowler hatted wearing suit antics today.
There's none of that madness while Downing's in charge, let me tell you. We're going to move on to somewhat.
Before you move on, I think Rudolf Hess's defence at Nuremberg was, I didn't mean to cause any offence. I was just trying to help out a mate. It was all Adolf. I didn't know what he was doing.
Okay.
I won't do it again, and I will train normally.
Yeah. And then he went and goose-stepped perfectly around the prison yard.
BNP leader Nick Griffin is declared bankrupt, but will stand again in the Euro elections. And he's writing a leaflet on dealing with debt.
Morally bankrupt.
Morally bankrupt, yes. Yeah.
Do you know what I like about Nick Griffin?
Very little.
He looks like Richard Littlejohn.
Oh,
he sounds like Richard Littlejohn as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So he's bankrupt, both morally and financially. Britain's coast battered by 30-foot waves, winds, and giant hailstones. They're not that giant.
Giant hailstones?
Yeah, they're not that giant. They're not that giant. They're probably the size of a £2 piece. And there's more misery due tonight as second tidal surge looms. Have you both been affected by this huge amount of storms over the past couple of weeks?
I have.
Yeah.
I've lost several porpoise.
Well, you need to stop building or weaving those things that you keep weaving in the middle of storms.
Oh, who's this? The Queen of Hindsight? No shit, Sherlock.
You check the weather report before you started weaving such a thing. That's all I'm saying.
I've been affected horrifically as well. My bin was blown over by a freak gust.
You know what? That's the kind of commitment I like. You hear that, Richard? His bin was blown over and he's still here tonight.
I'm putting a brave face on it.
Look at that. God, you'd
That's
never
Dunkirk spirit right there.
Well, that's why you're the wind beneath my wings, Mark.
Yeah.
Yes.
My neighbours have been very supportive.
Considering they've got rubbish all up and down the gardens at the moment.
Yeah.
Here's a bit of news for you.
Go.
You know Morrissey,
Oh, we know.
the one,
Yeah.
the one who likes to rip daffodils from the ground.
Gladioli.
Yeah, he's been at it again.
What's he done now?
Do you want to hear the latest Morrissey quote?
Go for it.
I see no difference between eating animals and paedophilia.
There is a difference, isn't there?
I think there's a very, very distinct difference, because if there isn't, I'm not going to my butcher's again.
I'm going to have to stop eating meat.
Yeah.
now.
It says, I see no difference between eating animals and paedophilia. They are both rape, violence and murder. Now, violence and murder, fair enough. I don't think many people rape grouse.
I don't know, mate.
How on earth would you rape a
Grape a
quail?
rouse, yeah.
Excuse me, sir. I just want to check. Is this organic? Yes. Is this free range? Yes. And was this quail raped?
Is that halal?
Yeah, halal. I bought some halal champagne the other day from Marks and Spencer's.
Really?
Yeah.
That is weird.
Of course, I didn't hear about that woman, and she wouldn't serve.
Oh,
She
God, yeah.
wouldn't serve champagne, would she? Because it's alcohol.
And
She's
Tesco said it was okay, though, didn't they? Tesco said.
Yeah.
And then I actually just randomly on my Facebook, I saw some woman turn around, and this lady on my Facebook page, known to just fight against the status quo, turned around and went, "If you've got a problem with Muslim people not serving you alcohol, then fuck off." That was a bit much, wasn't it?
Well, it's a reasonable
All I
argument.
would say is if I didn't want to involve myself with the slave trade or gun trafficking, what I would do is, before I sat down at the checkout desk, I would think to myself, what could possibly come through here? It's the same as those girls, the Scottish and the English girl who got done for trying to smuggle drugs through Peru. It doesn't matter if you've had a threat. You know full well what you're going to do. If you don't want to do it, you know what I mean?
Don't do it.
If you know that sitting down, there is a percentage of a chance that someone is going to come and bring some pork to your conveyor belt, you've got to expect it, haven't you?
Why work for an organisation that sells it in the first place if you're so devoutly religious?
Or if you do, what you should do is do like the express checkout.
Just watch them doing it. My problem and with the actual comment was, if you've got a problem with a Muslim not serving you alcohol, and to which I reply it obviously very quickly, I don't have a problem with a Muslim not serving me alcohol. I've got a problem with anyone not serving me alcohol.
Yeah.
Because if you go to a shop that sells a product and then walk up to an employee of that organisation who sells said product, and that employee then turns around and says, "I am not going to serve you," that's not the way things should work.
The thing is, I'm not that bothered that she was sitting there and she's got a job and she said, "Look," probably very politely,
Yeah.
"I'm sorry, I can't touch this." And it's obviously blown out of proportion. Doesn't bother me. But what I would say is this: if it's that much of a problem to be able to touch alcohol, why are you working in a shop that sells it
alcohol
in the first place?
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be right back after these breaks.
Okay.
Welcome back! That was pretty good, that
Okay,
was.
no, you made my ears bleed.
That was awesome, that was. I enjoyed that. Welcome back to the 665. Yeah, advert breaks in between. That was good, that was.
Okay, now we've had that word from our sponsors, can I just say that my problem with the Muslims not selling things...
Jesus.
Jesus, nice. No pun intended there, Keith.
So I did.
Yeah, my problem isn't with the fact that they won't serve alcohol or that they work in Marks and Spencer's. My problem is that they believe in imaginary friends in the sky, and it's 2014.
My problem is that they work in Marks and Spencer's. Is that anyone works in Marks and Spencer's? It should just be
Keith,
autonomous.
you're a geek. Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
What's all with this? What's this Bitcoin? business?
Bitcoin.
That's what I said, Bitcoin.
Okay, yeah, Bitcoin is, if you will, it's an imaginary type of currency that's generated via the internet. So, it was designed using a sort of coding that could not be replicated. So, if I wanted to make Bitcoins, I would design the coding for that certain amount of Bitcoin, and that would be, I'd be the guy that invented it, say. So I designed the coding for 50 Bitcoins, and then I'd give 20 to you, 20 to Mark, and 10 to myself. And then say you wanted to buy a product off Play.com. Originally, this is what it started like. You wanted to buy an online product that you'd normally use your credit card for. You could use your official Bitcoin given to you by the guy who does the Bitcoins. And Amazon would say, okay, right, it's £2.50 or it's 3 Bitcoins. And if you paid for it in Bitcoins, all you'd have to do is click on it, it'd open up your virtual wallet, and it'd send across the Bitcoins. Now, if you wanted more Bitcoins, you'd come back to me and you'd say, right, okay, if I need 20 quid's worth of Bitcoins, and I'd go, yeah, at this moment in time, it's that. And when it first started off on sites like 4chan, and it was kind of popular. People were getting into it and stuff. I think it was something like, I seem to remember the last conversion rate was something that I read. It was something like $1 per 1 Bitcoin. And at one point last year, it was millions and absolutely millions of dollars for these Bitcoins. Because they could only be designed by this one guy, this one Chinese guy who was just kind of doing them as and when people bought them. So it's an online form of currency that doesn't exist outside of the internet.
Can I just make a little thing? James Howells searches for hard drive with £4 million worth of Bitcoins. He threw away his hard drive, which apparently is now worth over £4 million. 7,500 Bitcoins.
It does, because when I originally could have bought Bitcoins for a penny a piece back in the day, those are like 250 quid a piece now. But it's nonsense. It's only ever if you even
it's
if
only worth it if you're using it in that virtual world. Yeah.
And more and more places
you get to spend them.
Well, more and more places are doing it online. And offline, it's kind of weird. Places are doing it offline now, so you can go in with your mobile phone. There's a coffee shop in London that does it. Southerners, and then you can go in with your virtual wallet, and you can pay for things that way.
Fucking hell!
I take it you're not a fan of this idea, but
Jesus Christ! I mean, what? Come on! I mean, really?
It's fucking genius, isn't it? Really, you've created money.
It's a license to decode money. That's what it is.
It is. As long as it stays legitimate, and from the websites I've used, and I've never bought them or traded them or anything, it seems to still be pretty legitimate. There isn't really a way out there where you can just sort of increase Bitcoins into your wallet. It doesn't work that way. And I suppose with the increase in online shopping and that sort of thing, it can only grow. But no, I've never used it myself. I'd be pissed off if I threw away a hard drive with £4 million on it. That'd be kind of gutting, I suppose.
Yeah, that would be gutting. That wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Should we do some North Korea news?
Yeah, well, that's what I've been waiting for since 10 minutes ago. Well, during your half-time break, that's when I wanted to talk about it.
Kim Jong-un killed his scum uncle, and I say scum uncle because he referred to him as such in his New Year's speech, by stripping him naked, throwing him into a cage, and leaving him to be eaten alive by a pack of 120 starving dogs.
Or as Morrissey saw it, he got raped.
He got raped by paedophile dogs.
Like I said to you earlier, Keith, I'm just amazed that they found 120 starving dogs in Korea, because usually they fatten them up.
Yeah, that's what you did there. Made point to the fact that Koreans probably like eating dogs. Which they probably do. They probably do. And their dogs probably like eating scum uncles.
I like the fact that you said it so quick. You sounded like it was one word. What's a scumuncle, Grandad?
Scumuncle?
It's what you feed dogs, son.
A scumuncle is is what our glorious leader calls Yang Song-tiek, who was 67.
What had he done?
He wasn't.
He got rid of all of his bitcoins.
That's
Got
what
his hard drive away. Yeah.
That's what runs North Korea at the moment, is bitcoins.
Who runs the world?
One of the things that he'd done was to not applaud enthusiastically enough during one of his speeches.
Stalin's greatest gift to the world.
Yeah.
What, bitcoins?
Yeah.
Who's on?
No,
something?
Mario.
Oh, okay. See where the moustache thing comes from. Makes sense. Anything else in the news that you gentlemen would like to talk about at all?
Well, I'm sure Mark would like to speak about how well we did in the Ashes.
Because we have done fantastically well.
Sorry? the cricket. Oh, yeah. It's been a bit of a nightmare, hasn't it? However, if we lose this test, I stand to win at £120.
Really?
For betting against England.
Yeah, virtual currency, though.
Yeah. Bitcoins, yeah. But, yeah, it's been a bit of a nightmare, has been a disaster. The England team are falling apart. They're clearly going to go through a period of transition and have to find new... Similar to the Australians, actually, a few years ago, isn't it? Yeah. It's all too depressing to talk about.
Yeah, it's not very good, is it? We haven't done well at all. I'm not a massive cricket fan, I've got to be honest with you. But I've been quite surprised with how bad we have done in the cricket. Just to move away from it, there's another quick point I wanted to mention. Have you seen that Southampton have put a complaint in against Mark Clattenburg?
Yes.
That they insulted Adam Lallana.
What did he say?
I don't know.
What was he meant to have said?
I don't think...
Basically...
here we go. The official is believed to have told skipper Lallana, "You're very different now you played for England. You never used to be like this."
Yeah.
Fucking hell, he might as well shagged his mum.
That?
An official insulting any player, no matter his intentions, cleaning...
Apparently, Lallana had been giving Clattenburg abuse initially, so it was a retort.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I say, you're much different now you play for England. You never used to be like this.
Lallana collapsed in tears after said comment. But they've dropped it immediately. The FA have said, no, that's just nonsense. Don't be so stupid. You
should hope so.
John Obi Mikel and Adam Lallana are forming a WWE tag team as we speak. Vince McMahon is going to look after Clattenburg.
That's going to be brilliant, mate. I'm paying to watch that. I'm paying to watch it.
Oh, did anybody see the... I don't watch UFC, but has anybody ever seen what's going round about the recent leg break?
Oh, no. What happened?
It looks as if someone has attached a rubber leg to somebody at the knee.
Anderson Silva horror leg break, yeah.
To be honest with you, you expect the person with the broken leg to be the person who's standing still. the antagonist, if you will. The protagonist. It was the opposite. He'd gone to kick him, and all of a sudden it just looked like he was chucking... It was as if I was trying to hit you round the legs with a rubber hose. It was disgusting.
UFC. I used to be a fan of UFC when I was very young. Before it was like the way that it is now. My grandfather used to watch it, and I remember it being like cage fighting. It was like crazy now.
How has it changed?
Well, now fat people wear tight UFC shirts in fucking Sainsbury's and piss me off. We've all seen them.
Tap out.
Yeah, tap out. Fat people wearing tap out shirts and unleash the pain. Unleash the pain. What the just no.
You know what they mean by unleash the pain, don't you? They're saying,
give me a KFC.
Make me cry, I'm single. I can't get a woman.
Yeah.
I need to see enough. I need to see latent homoeroticism.
Yeah, but I like wrestling. Or I did like wrestling.
Do you mean watching?
just diving in, rubbering off. I don't mean any of that like gay WWF stuff. I mean Greco-Roman, proper.
Yeah, like women in love.
I don't fuck around, man. I don't fuck around.
Isn't it all just a bit homoerotic?
No, I don't. I've never got that. I suppose someone watching...
No, but why would you? Men in leotards grappling?
No, I don't think it... No, I've never seen that with wrestling. I don't watch it and I suppose from the outside you might look at it and go, yes, men wearing very little wrestling with each other could seem somewhat gay, but I've never seen it that way.
No.
Not that I watch it anymore, you know.
What did you buy your wife for Christmas, Keith?
Wrestling leotard.
Because everyone's been going about this new ladies' fragrance, haven't they?
I'm unaware of it.
It's called Cruising in the Public Toilet. But I've always been more of a fan of cruising in a public toilet for men.
I would not be aware of that, despite my
Oh yeah,
love.
yeah. I much prefer cruising in a public toilet for men, Keith.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a far better smell.
It's because of my love of wrestling. Love is a bit stretched, to be honest with you. That's a bit too much. Yeah.
What a giveaway!
I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes I like to dress up and, you know, take the boys out.
It's
You know.
a bit stretched at the moment.
Right,
That is
on to other stuff we need to talk about. I just propose to the fact that I'm now homosexual because I'm into wrestling.
I don't know why I'm so histrionic. It might be the Jaipur, but that really tickles me, Keith.
You want tickling, mate? One-on-one cage match.
Get the leotard on.
Let's go. Let's go. I would like to talk about Dream Watch. Those of you who would listen to the first show, God help you, will know.
Dream Watch.
Yeah, would know that Richard gave us a thorough talk through on lucid dreaming, and one of his lucid dreams was very funny. And I'd like to talk about lucid dreaming again. Mark, you might want to chip in here, maybe if you've had some crazy dreams recently.
Well, after the first episode, I got to thinking about dreaming, and it sort of came back to me that I used to have a recurring dream when I was younger, probably up to about the age of 11 or 12 or so. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And in this dream, I'd be laid in bed, having sleeping, dreaming, and I'd hear a noise on the stairs. This is within the dream, and I'd be obviously very, when you're young, you're scared. You're looking at the wardrobe in the corner of the room, and you're thinking, my God, what's in there? And this noise coming stairs. The atmosphere all added to be really quite freaky. And I'd be laid there, and I'd be listening, and I'd hear the noise gradually coming up the stairs, creaking on the steps, and gradually getting to outside my door. To which point, within the dream, my door was pushed open, and I'd wake up at that point and sit up and look at the door. Okay? And nothing. 2 nights ago, I had the same dream. 2 nights ago, I was dreaming, and I was in the house that I lived in at the time, my old house where I grew up. And I was in the house, and it was night time, and you know what dream logic's like, and I was thinking about what Rich was saying about lucid dreaming. I thought, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and see myself when I was younger and tell myself, okay, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, you're going to go through this in your life, that in your life, but everything's going to be okay. You'll get over it, you'll get through it all, it's all going to be okay. So in this dream, I was going up the stairs, walking up the stairs, going on walking up the stairs, opened the door to see my younger self sit up in bed and look at the door.
So are you saying you prophesised the dream that you've only just had when you were younger?
Yeah.
Whoa.
That is class.
That is pretty cool, mate. That is pretty cool.
Did he cast eyes on you?
No, he was sort of looking over my shoulder. And within the dream, when I saw my younger self look at me but behind my shoulder, I turned round to look what was behind me. Yeah?
Yeah. Is it a porpoise in a coracle?
No, it was Nelson Mandela holding my brother's wallet.
The bastard. I have come back from the dead to give you what I have taken.
Can't fucking believe it.
His brother doesn't sound like that.
Richard, have you had any...
That dream's genuine, by the way.
It's very good. It's very good. I'll give you that. It's good. It's no painting...
Thanks for giving me that.
It's no painting, I got to be honest, and doing the ears and all that. I mean, it's no Smith, but I'll give you that. Richard, have you had any more lucid dreams?
Well, yes, I'll talk to you about my lucid... What I would say about the main thing about lucid dreaming is, obviously, you've got to be self-aware. But the other thing about being self-aware is you know you're doing it. So you've sort of got to trick your mind. Now, the big problem you've got is, and this is what I find, is as soon as I try to actively lucid dream, on the contrary, what it does is it makes me go to sleep quicker. Whereas, if you're trying to go to sleep and you're consciously thinking, I need to go to sleep, you'll stay awake for ages because it's playing on your mind. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you try and stay awake, all of a sudden you just fall asleep. So what I would say is if you're having trouble falling asleep, use a lucid dream technique to stay awake and you will fall asleep. But obviously with time you can train yourself to lucid dream. But I have a recurring problem with my lucid dreaming, and it's like I'm being attacked by a ghost. So because it gets that lucid, I'll have like a night terror, but it feels very, very real. Have either of you seen An American Werewolf in London?
Yeah.
You know that scene when he wakes up from a dream? And then he goes, shit, I woke up from a dream, but then he's still in the dream, and then he gets attacked again.
Oh, shit, man, that scared the fuck out of me as a kid, man.
Yeah, well, that happens to me in real life, Keith, but don't worry about it. But basically, right...
What, the whole film?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I turn into really shit makeup.
Yeah, but at least you get Giagata.
Yeah, that's fair dues, yeah. At least I get a railway child. But... I had this dream, and I knew I was lucid. It was nice because I knew I was lucid dreaming at this point because I was staring at my curtains, and they got a floral pattern, and the floral pattern was moving like in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas when the carpet starts moving, and it was getting very, very vivid, and it was all moving dramatically. But the thing is, in my bedroom, they're playing, my curtains are. So what they say is, if you're lucid dreaming and you look at your hand, put your finger, and if your finger goes through your hand, obviously you're lucid dreaming. If it stops, you know that you're actually...
Unless you're Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, so I was doing it, and then I put my eyes closed again, and then I'd realised. But then the problem I have is it feels like I'm being attacked by a ghost, and I physically feel someone like shaking me and trying to stifle me. So far, my lucid dream is turning my life into a living hell. In summary,
it doesn't sound good, mate. I was expecting. Yeah, I met a dolphin and we climbed the Servius.
I'll tell you what, it got to the point with the. It was that lucid with the pattern on my curtains. I think I'm getting there now. So in about 3 or 4 weeks' time, I'll be having amazing sex with a beautiful woman.
I like the way you say, because of the patterns on my curtains, I think I'm getting there. Not the fact I feel like I'm being raped by a ghost every time I close my eyes.
It's not rape. They just want to attack me.
It's not rape.
I just want to know...
Sexual about it.
I just want to
Angry
know...
sex.
I think they just want to prove that they're there.
Okay.
I think it's Tony Yeboah.
Do you remember that goal he scored, though? Does he want to tell you about that, do you think?
Everyone always goes on about the Liverpool goal. The goal against Wimbledon is far better.
Is it? Is that what he's trying to tell you?
I think he's probably trying to say, just go with general consensus. Yeah. But no, I'm always going to stick to Wimbledon.
And that's why he comes in your room.
Did I tell you about my friends who believe in ghosts and spirits?
Oh, God.
I told them that it felt like I was being attacked by a ghost, and my mate went, "What, in this house? In the house you're in now?" And I went, "Yeah." And I was like, and he thinks, because it's in the house I'm in now, it's real. Whereas if I'd have said, "Oh no, it was in the house before," he'd be like, "Oh, well, that's fine, then it's gone." Even though it's all in my mind, it's gone now because you've moved to a house.
No, it was in the house before. You know, the one that I had to get the priest into, the one with all the flies on the window. But
my mate, who I'm talking about, he went out with a girl who's a little bit of a psycho, and she said that she could speak to dead people, and a way to get him back when they split up, because he's, God rest his soul, etc. His granddad had passed. She said about 3 or 4 weeks after they'd split up, "Oh, I'd spoke to your granddad, and he says everything's going to be okay." Now, if there's an underhanded tactic to get back with someone, if ever there is anything that you shouldn't do to play on someone's emotions, you should not say, "I've spoken to your dead granddad a month ago and he said everything's fine."
But you see,
That is hitting a low for me.
That is fucking bad.
yeah, but wouldn't a normal person just say, "No, you haven't.
Shut
You're
up,
a fucking
you
idiot."
fucking twat. Yeah,
Well, he did. He was like, "Yeah, whatever."
bitch.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
gentlemen.
don't know if I ever told you, my grandma was a celebrated medium in her day.
In Hull.
Yeah, but she got a bit fat towards the end, didn't she?
Bloody
good.
good.
No, she was seriously like, sort of like nationally renowned.
What was her name? Gypsy Rose Lee.
Oh, you know her?
Yeah.
No, Gypsy Petrolenko.
That was you know her. Did she sing with Nina Cherry on 7 Seconds?
No, she seriously was. My dad's mother. She opened church. She opened quite a few spiritualist churches around the country. She ended up going down and working at the Arthur Conan Doyle Psychic Research Centre that he opened up with his the money from his will, essentially. I think. She was very well renowned.
I know this to be true, which makes it even more weird.
So, Mark,
Yeah.
is this why you're such a staunch
Yeah, skeptic on everything.
skeptic?
On everything.
Because you know the inside track.
Do you know it's all a bit of bollocks,
but
really?
my brother has a very good story to tell about a time that she pretended.
To be Nelson Mandela and stole his wallet.
Stole his wallet.
No, she pretended to. She played something. She played something on him which seemed very real at the time, but which he has since found out was a very common trick that mediums used to prove the existence of ghosts, sort of thing. So she was obviously a charlatan. I mean, clearly she was a charlatan. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that all of us are right and all of us were wrong and she was right. She was clearly a charlatan, but yeah, she was quite well known, sort of thing. I think my dad's got quite a few press clippings of things that she did and blah blah blah. But no, that's not the reason. I mean, the reason I'm a skeptic is because it's 2014 and I'm not a fucking idiot.
And with that, I think...
Hold on, Keith. Now, I need to know this. So, what was the common trick?
Oh, I can't remember. I'll find out for next time, and I'll tell you exactly what she did.
We want to get the common trick on. We do want it. And with that, gentlemen, we are going to say goodbye.
Okay.
You can say something like that. We are going to say goodbye.
Gentlemen, what I would like to say is, are any of you out, and what I mean by out is out of the house this weekend?
Probably not.
No. What about you?
Me? Yeah, I'm out.
Well, you're the only one left.
I'm out of the house this weekend, yes.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
can I have a word of advice, give a word of advice to you?
Yeah, please do.
Please.
If you happen to be pulled off the street by a policeman, I don't mean masturbating. If a policeman absconds you towards a police station and says, please, can you take part in... We're doing some training for the young recruits. I want you to pretend to be looking at a lineup. If this happens to you, Mark...
Yeah.
And you look, and in the lineup room... like the Usual Suspect style, there are a whole line of identical metal Ironside impersonators, robots made out of metal, Ironside impersonators. What I want you to beware of is if you see a range of rough metal Ironsides, just make sure you don't get Raymond Burr if you have to touch them. I don't want you to get Raymond Burr.
Okay. How about if the Perry Mason?
Well, if the Perry Mason, that'll be different, right there, because if you're touching a metal pipe, make sure you don't get Raymond Swarf. That joke doesn't work. But you get the gist.
Okay.
I think
it was a Burr joke. Basically,
that counts as a public service announcement from us. There,
Yeah.
That was lovely.
What about if I get pulled off on the street by
by whom?
Police officer.
by a policeman?
Oh, what I would do is say that you're allowed to ejaculate in his hat because you're pregnant.
That happened to me
Or
once.
you would be pregnant if your own ejaculate went into your uterus.
That is true. Richard, say goodbye.
That's just one of the many
I'll
joys.
never say goodbye, Keith. You're too dear to me.
Oh. Mark, say goodbye.
Adieu, sweet prince.
Adieu, sweet prince. And to the listening
Hold on. Who was that? Was that you or Nicolas Anelka?
And to the listening public.
Oh, yeah. Breaking news.
Oh, what's that?
Mandela's dead.
Goodbye.
He faked his own death.